Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another game from Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. This one's gonna be from Bad Deck Monday, and this is a deck that I used not too long ago in a game online, which is the Watchlock deck. Now it's kind of a powerful deck, so you might be thinking, why is this on Bad Deck Monday? And it's pretty much because it takes such a ridiculous amount of setup to pull off. But when you do pull everything off and you do, set up, or you do prevent your opponent from setting up and you lock them down, heck, it's pretty darn good. But we'll see what happens here. Now, I start out with a lone Victini, and that Kyurem gets a water energy on it. If he had drawn a Chorus Machine as well to use Frost Spear turn 1, this would have been game over. So, thankfully, he did not. And we're just going to start off here with an Ultra Ball. Get out as many Pokemon as I can. Looks like we're going to go. I have the Victini out. I have the Fungus, the Patrat, and a Juniper, along with a Mew EX as well. So, this is pretty much what I want turn 1. But this probably is a really bad matchup. The Plasma deck, the Deoxys, Thundurus, Kyurem deck. It's a deck that can operate on very little resources, especially the Thundurus with that Raiden Knuckle attack. Can really put the hurt on you if your opponent gets enough Deoxys EX into play. With that power connectability, can just kind of overwhelm you when you're using the 120 HP Mew EX. Doesn't always work out very well. So here, I decided to switch into Mew EX to save my poor Victini's life, and I have a big choice. Do I use Patrat's Collect to draw a card, or Fungus's Find a Friend to try to find a Pokemon? I decided to go with Collect to draw a card. Might as well take the safe bet here. And, yeah, this just looks terrible so far, right? I mean, that Kyurem has 2 energy on it now. One more and it can use that Blizzard Burn attack to go ahead and knock me out. Look at my hand. I have no supporters. There's, ugh. What else can you say besides, ugh? I do draw a Getsis, which might be able to disrupt my opponent and maybe get me a couple cards in the process. So I take a look, and there's an N, and then 2 Plasma Energy and a Thundurus EX. So, not only do I not draw any cards, and not shuffle in any of his, but he just has a supporter and some energy anyway. And at this point, I am pretty much thinking, ah, boy, this is gonna be an ugly game. This might just be one of those games where I lose 6-0. And this honestly happens with this Watchlock deck a lot. I do post mostly the close games on these videos, but trust me, I play plenty of games where they're ugly, and I just kind of get wrecked. It definitely can happen with this deck, where you just really get destroyed. That happens quite frequently. I go ahead and put down Emolga, because I assume Mew EX is going to get knocked out next turn, and I have to decide, what attack do I want to copy here? I decided to attach the Blend to the active Mew EX. I could use Helix Force, which would do 30 damage since I don't have a Plasma Energy. I could use Quick Tail Smash from Watchlock if I flip heads I do 80. But I'm going to take the safe bet here and use Stored Power, which is Victini's attack. It does 30 damage and you get to move your energy to a different Pokemon. So I figure, heck, Mew's going down. Why not just move my energy to the other Mew? I know, he could catcher that Mew out and really put the hurt on me, but I really don't know what I'm going to do anyway. I might as well get some damage on that thing. Hopefully the poison from the Hypnotoxic Laser will wear him down, as he does attach that 3rd energy to the Kyurem, and puts down another Deoxys EX. So now his Plasma Pokemon are doing plus 20 damage. He takes the first 2 prizes there, and you can see kind of the fragility of this deck in action here. It just does not look pretty. I don't even know what else to say about this. It's an ugly situation for me. I am down 2 prizes. I don't really have much damage on his board. He's got a bunch of Deoxys in play. I'm going to go ahead and use Getsis, and I can see, alright, all he has is a Thundurus, a Lugia, a Blend, and a Getsis. I just shuffled in the Revive, the Tool Scrapper, and the Chorus Machine. So I'm going to draw 3 with that and shuffle into 3 items. That's pretty nice. But that means, alright, he's got to get this. I'm going to have to play all of my items down so he doesn't get to draw any cards with that. And that's what I'm going to have to do here. I can Dowsing Machine. I can Dowsing Machine and then just kind of play both switches. And then play my Super Rod as well. So I'm going to go ahead and Dowsing Machine. I'm not sure what I'm going to actually take with this. I could have taken an Ultra Ball, looking back. I don't think I ended up doing that, but I could have taken the Ultra Ball. That probably would have made the most sense. Just Ultra Ball away the 2 switches, and then grab a useful Pokemon, maybe a Sableye or something like that. But I decided to Super Rod. I got back a Getsis, and then I'm just going to play both switches and retreat back into the Mew. I got to take a look how much damage do I have to do here. I have to do 50 to that Kyurem, and then the Poison will finish it off. But unfortunately, there's nothing in play that could really do 50. So I have to go for a Watchog's Quick Tail Smash. Flip a coin if heads. Well, you can choose to flip if you do. Heads, you do 80. Tails, you do 0. So here we go. Tails, and we need a heads here. And okay. Whew. If I got tails there, that's pretty much game over. I mean, he would probably just Blizzard burn me. And me would go down. I'd be down 4 prizes. Blah, blah, blah. Game would be pretty much over. So here, we have at least taken down the first big attacker. But we have not done any sort of locking. Now, the important thing when playing this deck is to try to pick your spot and try to figure out, alright, when do I need to be aggressive or when do I need to sit back and try to lock my opponent? Because that is what you're trying to do eventually. But it's not always that simple. You can't always just go, alright, I'm going to try to lock you right now. It doesn't always work. Otherwise, you can just get run over by a simple Pokemon with, you know, that Kyurem with some energy that could very easily just run you over. So I'm going to play a Juniper. I know his hand at this point is, he top decked the Revive, so I know his hand is the Lugia, another Pokemon, and then a Getsis. I think it's a Lugia, Thundurus, and a Getsis. So, alright, we got the Enhanced Hammer. I'm going to catch her up the Keldeo here, and then I'm going to go ahead and use Astonish. I think I made a mistake here. I should have just used Watchlock because I knew his hand. I knew it had a... I knew it was Getsis and then those other 2. But I figured in the future I'm going to need to junk hunt a lot. So I wanted to get rid of that Getsis while I could. I got a Skyla here. Just going to grab a laser and now it begins. He has no cards thanks to that Astonish. Amoonguss is, you know, he's really in the spirit of Bad Deck Monday. We used to have Hooligans Gym and Cass all the time. And now Amoonguss has kind of taken the spot. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and use Watchlock. Rearrange my opponent's top 5 cards, and at this point, if he doesn't have a way to kind of get out of this, and he only has 1 card, I mean, if it was a supporter, he definitely would have played it. So, I'm assuming it's either a useless item or a Pokemon. Both of those are very good in my spot, so we're going to rearrange the top 5. Plasma Ball, and then an Energy, and then all sorts of stuff. I really don't want to give him Energy, so I kind of give him the Plasma Ball to kind of bait out playing it, and making him reshuffle his deck. Just a tip, if someone's giving you a card that shuffles your deck, he probably just wants you to play it, because the other cards are probably good. So he does have a switch here. He's going to switch into Kyurem and then rush into Keldeo once again. And now I know his hand exactly is that Kyurem he took. So this turn we're just going to chorus for 10 and get, you know, a lot of good stuff. I have time on my side now. I can just go ahead and sit back. I mean, this turn I can Watchlock and rearrange his top 5. I am in no hurry to really do anything because I know he doesn't have any options. And this is the one spot where you're comfortable with this deck. You know, you have a Pokemon with 2 retreat in the active spot. You don't really care about that. You have time to sit back and use all of your attacks. So I'm going to rearrange his top 5, give him the Lugia first since his bench is full. And then a Catcher, since I'm just going to junk hunt for a switch. And then a Plasma Energy, since I'll just junk hunt for an Enhanced Hammer before that turn. And then a Scramble Switch, which by that point he should not really have energy in play. And then after he draws the Scramble Switch, I will Watchlock once again to rearrange his top 5 so he doesn't draw the Skyla. So this is a pretty sweet situation at this point. Going to Skyla once again for a laser. And then start to chip away at that Keldeo. And this deck is very powerful once we get in this situation. You know, we were down a lot at the beginning. That Kyurem came out of the gates and really hit us hard. But just like this, it was just an N and an Astonish. And then, heck, look where we are now. There wasn't an N, I think it was a Getsis and then an Astonish. Took his hand down to 0. And then we're rearranging his top 5. We're junk hunting. The active is poisoned. I decided to grab a dowsing machine there and the catcher, or not a catcher, switch. I needed to take switch for sure because I knew he's drawing catcher this turn. So I just go ahead and yeah, I just take the dowsing machine since I have extra cards to discard at this point. I have the extra Patrat and Watchhog that I really don't want in play anymore. And by in play, I mean in my deck anymore. Those are not cards I want to draw anymore. So I'm going to dowsing machine here, and I can go ahead and just take Enhanced Hammer. And then finally get all the energy off my opponent's board. And at this point, what does he do? We have pretty much completed the lock here. And I'm just going to keep junk hunting for more stuff. This has elements of all sorts of decks we've seen in the past. You know, I can junk hunt once again. You know, it has elements of the Darkrai deck, Hammer Time, where you can just sit back, keep getting back those crushing hammers, enhanced hammers, and if your opponent doesn't really have energy acceleration, you can just kind of run them out of energy and win the game that way. It has hand disruption from previous formats that we've seen. You know, this takes me back to the days of the Watchlock deck, which is from the 2006 season. It's ancient history for some of you, but there's a deck similar to this where you just try to lock your opponent out of the game with various ridiculously good attacks and trainers and such. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Look, I haven't even really attacked him. I mean, what have I done? I've used a laser, I've used enhanced hammers, I've rearranged his top 5 cards, that's it. I've just controlled what he's drawing. And just by that simple action, we are controlling how this game goes. So we're going to use Watchlock again, and I see right here, I've already won the game. Look, he has a Tool Scrapper, a Revive, a Scramble Switch. That's 3 free turns I get. He's getting knocked out by Poison right here. Take my 2 prizes. I don't have to worry about getting End or anything like that because I know what he's been drawing. I know what he'll be drawing. I know what's in his hand. And I'm not worried about any of it. So at this point, I mean, just look at what we're going to do. I know his next card is the Tool Scrapper. The next one is the Scramble Switch, and he just doesn't have energy to work with. So this turn, you can see just how ridiculously powerful Mew EX actually is. Look at that list of attacks that I could use right now. I'm actually going to catch up Deoxys EX, copy Thunderous EX's Thunderous Noise, since I have 4 energy, 2 of them being Prism, and knock out a Deoxys EX, and look, we're going to just take 6 straight prizes uncontested, because of how ridiculously strong Mew is in combination with all these other Pokemon. The Sableye, the Amoonguss, the Watchog, look at all this stuff we've used. And now we have a laser, and I'm going to copy Blizzard Burn from Kyurem, and that's it. Look at how strong this deck can actually be, and how strong Mew EX can actually be. Now again, this can lose to a simple attacking Pokemon early on, but once it gets time to develop and use its strategy, it's a beautiful deck and extremely strong. So, what do you guys think? Should this be on Bad Deck Monday anymore? I don't know. It's at least fun to watch. But I hope you enjoyed this. It's a very interesting deck at the very least. It's very difficult to play as well. Makes you think a lot. But until next time, guys, I am Pooka here from the Top Cut, and we'll see you again soon.